Anthony, conferences are tough. They're exhausting. And I can't believe I made it through another one.
And that's all we talked about. So we can't wait to a conference. And now you're complaining.
That's right. That's totally me.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Hey, everybody. We've been California dreaming all week, Anthony Melchiori. We were out there at the Alice conference. How cool was that, doing live shows in LA, dude?
It was fun, man. It was fun. It was fun to see everyone. It was fun just to be around and know things are getting back to normal. And, we are taking a step or two back. But listen, it's things are moving forward. And
look, Paula Abdul said it best: 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right?
And who doesn't love Paula Abdul? I used to have to get the ballroom ready for her when she was really, really big and dancing and stuff at the Plaza Hotel. That's where she used to warm up when she stayed at the hotel.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Actually, we hit her when she was dating. Who was she dating? She almost got engaged to.
I don't know.
Oh, what's his name? Sheen. That's Charlie Sheen's brother. Charlie Sheen's brother.
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, they almost got married. And I used to have to hide them.
Yeah, then I think they put out that movie, Emilio and Charlie put out that movie, Repo Man or something like that, where they're garbage guys or something. That probably ended the relationship. Because
I don't know. I mean, I'm old, man. I was invited to Carson Daly and Tara Reid's wedding. That's how old I am.
Oh, my God. That's pretty awesome. Did you go?
No, they didn't have a wedding. They called it off at the last minute.
Oh, I figured they just got married and then got divorced, the real Hollywood kind of thing. Speaking of Hollywood, we were in downtown LA last week. This week, yesterday, last week. Yesterday feels like a week ago. I'll tell you. And we were doing all these great live shows. I want to thank the good folks at the Intercontinental Los Angeles downtown for giving us a home base. If you missed any of our shows, we had on the CEO of IHG Americas, right? Anthony Eli Malouf was on Monday.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I'll tell you something. I was very fortunate being there. I had breakfast with Mike Stengel, who used to run Gaylord and all the convention services for Marriott. And I'll tell you, he's retired and he was up earlier than me, ready to go. He's just a great guy. It was really nice to spend an hour with him and talk to him and introduce me to some great people. It was nice just to hang out with people again.
It really was really great. But I'll tell you, the best part about the whole trip was Anthony leaving town, because the TSA is interested in creating more public-private partnerships, right? The whole notion of how can we work with businesses together to enhance the overall travel experience. So I got to go to this really elite terminal at LAX that all the celebrities in the glitterati go to, and I didn't have to be with the unwashed masses at the actual LAX airport. It was really freaking cool.
So bring us through the process.
All right. So you guys can check the video out on what the private suite looks like that I was in. You can check that out on my LinkedIn page, et cetera, et cetera. You know how to find it. But it was really great because you arrive there by whatever vehicle you get dropped off in, and they greet you right out front. So cool. They really treat you well. You don't even have to touch your luggage. They just take it away and you don't see it again until you get to your destination. This individual greets you. They bring you to a suite. They show you the entire suite, what that experience is going to be like, all the complimentary drinks, all the beverages and stuff. They greeted me with a beautiful glass of Japanese whiskey, which was delicious, Anthony. And I really just felt like a super awesome high-rolling player the entire time in my private VIP suite. Then when it's time to go board the plane, they call you. And then you go through a private TSA experience. So there's nobody in the entire room except for my PS escort and 2 TSA agents. The TSA agent had my boarding pass, my ID, which I gave them when I first arrived, and my luggage tags. I went right through TSA's checkpoint, and then I got to go outside. And the little detail that they had there is they had a fridge so you could grab more beverages on the other side in the secure zone, so you could bring some water. I got some Icelandic water, got into a private car, and then drove through the airport, dude. On the runways, on the tarmac around the runways. We had to stop the car because a jet passed us by. And then we parked next to the jet. And I got to walk up those stairs that usually the guys take the bags down, right, on the jetway. And then popped in. And then I
anyway, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part.
Then I came back down to earth because Anthony was all comfortable in his Delta One seat, and I had to keep on walking to go out to the back. So I was really up there, and then I came down. What a great experience!
I was like, hey man, that was really, really fun. See you in the back.
I know. So tomorrow night, if you guys tune into Friday Night Audit at 5 p.m., I'll talk a little bit more about it. And
can we run that video at the end of the show? Can we run it? How long is the video?
It's a minute and a half, but I don't have it set to go. I probably should. I should have done that, but I'm not.
You know, and that's a great service. And I really want to make sure that people, know about that service, and we should have them on. So I look forward to it.
We're going to get, we had on Dan McCoy, the Chief Innovation Officer of the TSA, and this is where this came from. The whole idea, Anthony, which is why they brought me in to help them with this, and why you're going to help as well, I think, is they really want to create something with major hotels. Think if you're a luxury hotelier out there, how great it would be to create a private suite airport type experience in partnership with the government, but be a private entity. Wouldn't your guests love that? Wouldn't that be something that's completely different that really gets to the heart of removing friction in travel? One of the issues we talk about all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm very fortunate. You know, I'm a Delta Diamond, and yesterday I did Delta One, and they brought you right in as soon as you get to the airport, and then you go into the Sky Lounge, which was very, very busy.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. If you have a concern about being around crowds, mask or no mask, the Delta One Lounge yesterday or Delta Sky Lounge was very busy, but it was fine and plenty of food. And I will tell you, they're getting away from all this plastic. The buffet's back. As I told you it would be, and I think you said the same thing. The buffet is back, and
remember,
it was fine.
Speaking of the buffet, Anthony, remember when I was at Hotech North America back at the end of June, top of July, they had buffets like it was 2019 style.
Yeah.
So everything is everything.
No one cared. Even the most ardent mask wearers. Everybody's just like, whatever. Give me some food.
Yeah. All right. So producer Professor Stan is going to figure it out on how to get us that video. But before we do that, Gary Cardono is asking how much is that service? That service is costly. There are different tiers on it. We'll get to that. We're going to do, you want to run that?
Yeah, do it now. Do it now since we're here.
All right, make sure we have the volume going. Did you share it with volume? Because you have to hear what the volume is like. Actually, I could just talk over it. So right now I'm just talking on the video. This is the entry to the lounge, and it's really a private suite. Anthony, I thought that it would be like I would be in a Sky Lounge type of scenario where I'd be able to see the celebrities or whatever it is, but that really wasn't the case. I had my own suite. It was almost like a mini hotel room without the bed, which is really pretty cool.
Right. So there's nobody else. So there's a couple suites. So if there's another client, they go to a different suite.
Yeah. Kind of picture it this way, Anthony. It's kind of like an exterior corridor motel.
And this is super cool. I'm coming at you from LAX airport, but not the terminals. No. This is a private check-out facility to get through TSA. It's called PS Private Suites. This is where all the celebrities are coming. This is where all the muckety mucks go to. They have a really interesting experience. You make this reservation. You stay here, private, away from absolutely everybody, and you get to hang out and do all of that thing. They get private TSA service when you leave here, and then hop into one of those vehicles over there, and they whisk you down the runway to the airplane. How cool is that? I'd like to thank my friends over at PS for allowing me this experience, and also my good friends over at the TSA, as we help try to promote a new way for people to travel through security by marrying partnerships between private entities and government. Thanks so much for watching. This is so cool. What do you guys think? Would you like to see this rolled out? What about if this was rolled out at a hotel? They're talking about that. You do it at a luxury hotel. You get into a car, you get whisked away, and you have a private TSA experience. Wow. What do you think? Again, let me know in the comments below.
So, Glenn, why didn't you show us you being on the tarmac?
I was too busy taking photographs of stuff on the runway. It was really cool.
You know what? You did such a good job at that video. It would have been great if I would have seen the ride to the airplane.
It would have been great if we had done that, but I do have some photographs of that. I'll post that on LinkedIn and all of that. Yeah. But Anthony, we're talking about California today. We were just at the Alice conference. Mask mandates came back. We've been talking about that a little bit, but we have with us today the person who's in charge of the California Hotel and Lodging Association, also an industry hotelier and a member of the AHOA community, where we'll be next week broadcasting live in Dallas from the No Vacancy Live studio. Bijal Patel, welcome to No Vacancy Live, man. Great to see you.
Great to see you guys too. And Glenn, I have to say, I mean, wonderful that your departure from California was memorable, but I hope your arrival and your stay in California was just as memorable. As chairman, I feel like it's my duty to be like, we don't just provide great leaving experiences, but hopefully we provided you with a great arrival and a great stay.
You know what I enjoyed about the conference? You know, we were outside when we were doing, you know, cocktails and things. And as long as you have a cocktail in your hand or you're near a food truck, you know, you don't have to wear a mask. So it seemed very normal. You know, even in the lobby, in the restaurant, as long as we're eating, it seemed very normal. So outside of when you're in the conference and you're listening to someone, you really weren't wearing a mask because we were all within, you know, we were eating or drinking. So it seemed relatively normal from that perspective. And I thought the conference seemed to be well attended. It was probably 60 or 70%. You know, it was interesting. It was, you know, it's one step back to normal, right?
Right. Well, and, you know, the thing is, I got a lot of calls from my hotel friends, you know, about a week before Alice, when, of course, the LA County Public Health Director enacted the mask mandate. And it was kind of like the sky is falling again. And I was like, no, it's okay. You know, California as a state is still technically open. You know, we're just kind of trying to take a precautionary take on this Delta variant, and, you know, masks would be required indoors in LA County.
Right. What it looks like is federal governments and private companies are going to start going to mandated vaccinations. And if you don't want to get vaccinated and it's mandated, then you're going to take the consequences of whatever that is, whether it be getting tested, whether it be not being able to go to a concert. And I think that that's just what we need to do. We need to make it mandatory. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you deal with the repercussions of not getting vaccinated, and that's fine. That's your choice, and nobody's taking away your constitutional right. Do whatever the hell you want, but everybody's got to start mandating it across the board so that we can get back to normal and businesses can open, people can work, and we don't have these fits and starts.
Right. And that's one of the things we're working on actually with the governor's office in Sacramento, is that how do we, you know, post kind of Memorial Day weekend, you know, the vaccination rates kind of dipped.
Right.
And, you know, we reopened our economy here in the state of California on June 15th. But, you know, these variants are increasing COVID cases in predominantly unvaccinated Californians. And so we're trying to work exactly, Anthony, as you're kind of mentioning, on how do we as the private sector, businesses, events, those kinds of things kind of work to kind of incentivize.
And it's almost exclusively unvaccinated people. And I just want to say this because politically, you know, people get mad at me, but it's the people that are vaccinated, 85 to 95 to 99%, you know, of the vaccines work. So if you have J&J, it's 75%. If you have Pfizer, it's like 85, 90, whatever it is. That's still a small percentage. And no one said that if you're vaccinated, you're not going to get it. So everybody's like, see, the vaccination doesn't work. It does work. And people aren't getting as sick. So let's stop playing the silly game. If you don't want to get vaccinated, fine. But there's got to be consequences to you going into a concert or getting on a football team or going somewhere else to keep everybody else safe. I'm not saying, people don't know if I'm vaccinated or not. Actually, I am, and everybody knows that. But I'm saying, but if I wasn't vaccinated, I'd be saying the same thing. I just won't go to the concert. So I'm not saying you're a bad person or you shouldn't have choice. I'm just simply saying there's got to be, if you don't want to get vaccinated, fine, but you can't go to a concert.
Right. So we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, we're in the process of working with Sacramento on that, and hopefully we can come to terms with something soon. I think, you know, summertime, we're just great to be busy. We have a lot of leisure demand in California, pent up leisure demand. Hotels are full, labor's tight.
Is there a labor issue? I haven't heard.
Like literally, that's the only thing you could do at this point is just laugh about it, right, man?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, in the last 18 months have cleaned rooms, ran the front desk. I even had to do night audit a few times, you know. And let me tell you, being chairman of CH&LA, but then also doing night audit in between all the Zoom meetings, can really kind of be a humbling experience.
Well, you know what, and I'm really glad you said that, because going out of the HOA next week, and preparing for it, and I'm starting the conference with some really good information, and I'm thinking about what I'm saying, and I'm gonna kind of tie into what you're saying. Is we've all been humbled a little bit, and we've all done things or had to do things. For the first year, what was our number one job? Our number one job was to keep a roof over our head, right? And to keep our kids safe and with foods in their belly, right. And everything else didn't matter. Everything else got shut down, and people didn't get their fancy cars or their black cards or whatever they were usually getting. Everybody just went to zero. And so I think it was humbling for everyone. And I think it was good. It was obviously coronavirus is not good, but it was good to get that humbling experience.
I was equating it when I caught up with some friends at Alice, that we kind of almost went back to basics, kind of our basic kind of principles in hospitality, a clean, safe stay and a night of rest and shelter. That was kind of what we went back to. And so, yeah, I think it was kind of a great reset that we all kind of needed, in a way. And I'm more of a glass half full leader. So I try and always look at the positive in any situation. And, that's kind of what my takeaway from the pandemic was.
Well, it's led you to success because you're the first chairman ever to have 2 consecutive terms with your association, man. How'd you pull that off?
Well, I say
change all the rules so you could get reelected. How that
right. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was like, this is either an extreme privilege or an extreme punishment.
A little both, probably.
but I began my term as chairman just towards the end of 2019. Hit the ground rolling, ironically, at Alice in 2020, and then February there was these murmurs of this virus, and then of course we all know. I think, Glenn, I saw you at Click last in person.
Click in March of 2020, the last hotel industry event before everything fell apart.
Right, exactly. And we'd started to kind of elbow and kind of fist bump, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but we all still very well attended event. And then literally, I think a week later, California was the first to shut down in the country.
And then Hunter Conference canceled right after that. And then
yeah.
When did Vegas shut down? That was my moment. When did Vegas shut down? March 20th, something like that.
They held out kind of till the kind of very end. But yeah, it was like the last couple of weeks. I remember we had an event. I had an event to attend the first weekend in April, and that wasn't canceled until literally maybe March 28th or 29th.
All right, I found out. On March 17th, Governor Sisolak ordered all non-essential businesses closed for 30 days starting on March 18th. Anthony,
March 18th. Yeah. Wow. So it was kind of an interesting kind of experience. But, then we just immediately went into kind of triage mode. And the thing is, there was no playbook on the pandemic. All of these associations, AHOA, CH&LA, AH&LA, we had to overnight quickly adapt to provide resources and support to our industry. And so, to be honest with you, much of the 18 months has been a blur for me. In terms of just navigating all of the policies and changes. So something that happened in California, and us being such a large state, is our governor empowered the county health directors in each county to enact public health orders. And when you have 58 counties in the state of California, you have four large metros. It became very difficult for us to navigate. We had, one county had a public health order written one way, and the county next door would have one written another way. We had large hotel management companies with properties all over the state kind of getting, different kinds of policies and procedures. So anyways, I kind of just kind of bulldozed through, and the next thing you know, they said, "Hey, you're doing such a great job. Let's get you back on." And you didn't get to do much in 2021. Or 2020, I should say. So let's give you the opportunity in 2021. And now here I am focusing on kind of some of my priorities that I wanted to enact, coming in. So it was kind of like I got a little bit of a redo over.
Yeah. All right. So the fact of the matter is, this COVID thing still sucks. You rock because you managed to get through the California Hotel and Lodging Association's roughest period ever, and things are looking brighter. I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week in Dallas at AHOA. I know you'll be there in attendance, but we will be wearing masks. We will be keeping things safe. But Bijal, your role as chairman, you're dealing with a lot more issues other than COVID. And one of the issues that we haven't been talking enough about, it kind of got hidden because of the deep crisis that we were all in, is this whole notion of nuisance drive-by ADA lawsuits that have been going on. You're fighting this back. Could you really explain to people what the situation is, how it's not just affecting California hotel owners, but those around the country? And
it seems like every one of my clients is an issue for.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. I deal with it all the time.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it's become a huge issue, especially I would say in the last 3 or 4 years. They've kind of started to target communities at large. They'll go into a market and copy and paste a summons to 70 hotels in a market.
Right.
And the issue that I had is, I travel a lot through AHOA as well as CH&LA. I connect with members, hoteliers on a daily basis. And there was a large amount of frustration about what can we do. And so we kind of took it back to our executive committee at CH&LA and we said, okay, what are some of the issues on this? Well, they're targeting communities at large. Some people are fighting, some people are settling. We don't really know what's working in terms of a legal strategy. We also tried simultaneously trying to lobby our elected officials on ADA reform. ADA reform, I like to say, it's like tax reform. It's like, probably happens once every 30, 40 years, and that's about it. So we kind of said, okay, well, from a legislative perspective, it's going to be hard to kind of deal with these. So we have to do something that enables our members to be able to fight back. And so what we did is we launched just a tail end of 2018, 2019, we launched a ADA lawsuit assistance program. And basically,
hold on. Before you get into the assistance program, because people that are in our industry, we're talking shorthand here. Okay, we don't want to seem like we don't believe in ADA or we don't want to help people with disabilities. On the opposite of that, we've put a lot of money as a community and a lot of direction to our hotels to make people are comfortable. A good friend of mine is handicapped, and I always want to make sure that people that are challenged are having those, are having a comfortable stay. He sometimes has to sleep on the floor because he can't get in the bed because the beds are too high, and he's paying the same amount of money as everybody else. So I want to make sure we're completely understanding, the audience is understanding of what exactly we're talking about and how people take advantage of the rules that are there for people that are truly handicapped.
Right. Yeah. These are give us some real world examples. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. These are frivolous, these are the frivolous ADA lawsuits. So, and when I explain the program, I'll kind of talk a little bit more, but, the frivolous lawsuits are we've kind of seen where they'll look at your hotel on Google Maps. And if they don't see a little blob by your pool, which you're supposed to have the ADA pool lift, you'll automatically get a lawsuit summons. But what they're not really, they're not actually staying at the hotel, and who knows how old those satellite images are. You may have, a lot of times when I'm going up and down the state, I have hoteliers that are like, we spent considerable money to make our pool deck accessible, and we do have the pool lifts. And you're
legally required to have those lifts.
Yeah, right. And some of the pool lifts can be, you can take them out and have them there with a sign, so they don't necessarily need to be always fixed to the pool, because sometimes you can't. So as long as you have it accessible, as I understand it. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and what we kind of saw an evolution of that during the pandemic was now we're getting OTA ADA website accessibility lawsuits. So kind of a gray area, and these attorneys are getting very clever. So we did enact legislation in the state of California that says there is a right to cure. You have a cure period on physical barriers. So usually there has to be some type of notification, and then a hotel or a business has 30 to 60 days to correct the barrier before you can proceed to litigation. But they're kind of now, when ADA was written, websites, internet wasn't really a thing. And so we have this whole legal gray area now where they're saying, well, even if I'm considering staying, and so your brand website may have all of your ADA room type information listed, but I feel like a new OTA every week. And you have to have somebody on your revenue management team making sure that, if you're listed on these, international OTA websites, Agoda, all of these things, that you have to also be sharing, your ADA room type information on all of those channels.
Right. So the ADA law came into effect in July of 1990. So the internet didn't really exist in a meaningful way at all at that period of time. So they weren't even thinking about it when they legislated it. So it makes sense that it's not covered in something where you might need to have special audio or video or whatever.
But it's even more than that. Really, what I think you're talking about specifically is if you have X amount of room types, you have to have ADA compliant room types. Is that correct? So,
yes.
So if I have 10 room types, even if one room type is just one room, that room in that room type's got to be ADA compliant. If I have 50 rooms, what is it? One room per X amount of rooms have to be ADA compliant.
Right. Well, it depends too. Of course, there's a lot of hotels that were built, pre and some of them are kind of grandfathered in. But do have to generally have at least one ADA accessible.
But should you go ahead with any sort of specific type of renovation, then you are required by law to bring up your standards as part of that renovation.
Right. No, you're right. And the other thing too is a lot of the brands require, when you have a change of flag or those kinds of things, you're required to comply to all the latest ADA policies and procedures. And Anthony, I'm really glad you brought up it. This is not a fight against our ADA guests. We are in the hospitality business. We are there to provide equally great experiences to all of our guests. And we wouldn't be really great at hospitality if we had barriers for some of our guests. So our program is not for lawsuits with merit. We do kind of have a vetting process, but it's more for the frivolous lawsuits. So ownership
how does it work?
Yes, the ownership group has to demonstrate that this is a frivolous lawsuit.
There's people that wake up in the morning and they have a business and they literally attack these hotels, and it's not a little problem. It is absolutely an epidemic.
Right, it is. And so what we did is we went to the crux of the problem, and a lot of the hoteliers said, look, my insurance carrier is saying that, look, just settle, because they were asking pretty much, okay, pay $3,000, otherwise we're going to sue you. So a lot of the hoteliers would go to their insurance companies or speak to their attorneys, and they'd be like, look, it's going to cost you more in legal fees to actually fight this. So go ahead and pay the $3,000. Maybe you can negotiate it down to $1,500 or $2,000, good, power on you, but pay the fee and move on. And that's kind of what fueled this industry, right? And so they would go into a market and sue 70 hotels and get, $3,000 settlements from like 50 of them.
Oh, that's true. Everybody I know was settling.
Right.
Yeah. And I've seen complaints. I always ask members to forward me a copy of the complaint, and literally sometimes you'd see, it's a literal copy and paste job, right? So they're just going through and just slapping these out. And so we said, okay, we need to provide a mechanism that incentivizes actually carrying these to court. Because we need to get the bar involved. We went to the California bar and they said, well, unless there's, complaints during litigation, then we really can't do anything. If you're settling, we have no way of really kind of, censoring the vexation.
Why don't they? Your owners are being threatened.
Right, exactly. So we said, okay, we need to provide a pathway that incentivizes taking these to court. And so we allocated $250,000, $250,000 for this ADA lawsuit assistance. It was a pilot program, first in the industry, first across any business association, that really incentivizes that. So what we do is, as soon as you get an ADA lawsuit, you contact our office. We ask for a copy of the summons. We go through it. We make sure, okay, we think, it's frivolous. There's these certain parameters. We have an attorney that we've hired to basically fight these issues. And you only have to pay a flat fee of $2,500. Everything else, CH&LA covers your legal expenses. There's a $500 deposit in there for court costs because those vary district to district, but it's flat $2,000 for legal fees. You will not.
So what you're saying basically, Bijal, is it's cheaper now to fight these things than to just settle.
Right. Through this program, that's essentially what we've done. And, we're now at 120 cases plus. We've successfully fought about half of those. The other half are still going through litigation. But, the other big thing is that we didn't have access to data. We didn't have a playbook on what works. So what's great about this program, too, is all the information that we're learning. The second that these litigants change, what their claim is, we now have 4 or 5 cases of the same claim. And we can say, hey, wait, let's say the 3 of us are hoteliers. And, all 3 of us get a lawsuit. And let's say Anthony's successful in fighting his lawsuit and you and I aren't. We can now look at Anthony's strategy and duplicate that at, my hotel and your hotel. Right. And so it's really provided a path towards kind of essentially a litigation playbook for hoteliers across the state. And we've seen tremendous success through these definitely. And we're working with, I'm getting calls from hoteliers. You're doing something right when you're getting calls from hoteliers out of the state going, hey, can I sign up for your ADA lawsuit assistance program? And I have to respectfully say, sorry, you have to be a current CH&LA member to participate in the program. But we've seen, tremendous response to this. But
are the other associations getting on board with this? Because this should be a national-wide association, so it can help everyone. Because, like I said, it's the #1 complaint I get from my clients.
Yeah, so we've started to begin discussions on the AHOA side. I know a few of the AHOA officers have reached out to us, asking us, okay, how do we kind of replicate this, across the country? So it's great, I think, for us to now be moving from a defensive role to an offensive role. I think one of the challenges or frustration that I've always had as a 3rd-generation hotelier has been, we play defense a lot in our industry, right? And we need to kind of pivot to playing more of an offensive role. And so programs like these are wonderful for us. And I'll tell you, we reviewed the data monthly with our office and our attorney, and we've actually seen a reduction in litigation in the state of California. Not a large one still. We still have work to do, but, we're kind of seeing a trend going down because as you make it harder, and fortunately for us, and maybe unfortunately for our partners in the restaurant industry or other businesses, we're seeing hotel litigation go down and other industry litigation go up. And I think it's because we're making it difficult for them. We're unified now. They are aware of our program. And they know that if they are serving us with a frivolous lawsuit, the chances are we're going to fight it.
And what it allows you to get data. It allows you to get data of what is actually, because as soon as you hear ADA lawsuit, in our industry, it was like, oh, we know it's a bunch of crap, but there are some that aren't a bunch of crap.
Right.
So it allows you to look at it and say, hey guys, you got to fix this problem. This problem seems to be a problem across, you didn't want to put in the pool lift, but guess what? You're supposed to. So you're trying to skirt the law and you have to put the lift in. And if you don't, you're going to get sued. And that's not something we should be fighting because that's the law and you have to make sure you're abiding by the law. So I love data. I'm a data-driven guy. And I love that what you're doing. And I got to applaud you because I am telling you, it feels like there is no defense to this and everybody was feeling victimized. And I would say, talking about AHOA, that you were saying you were playing defense this whole time. AHOA's, the development of AHOA, the birth of was the biggest offensive move I've ever seen by an organization in my life. So I would never say that we're playing defense. It was just like we didn't know what to do. You didn't know what to do, and it seemed like everybody was, was confused. So really, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call you next time I have a client that said, I swear to God, I'm calling you immediately.
Please do. We're here to help you anytime.
So what are some of the other issues that you're working on as chairman of the CH&LA?
Well, labor, of course, I know we were kind of laughing about it earlier, but, here in the state of California, we had to let go or furlough close to 80,000 associates here locally in our industry. And, that's led to some tremendous challenges for us. We're now eagerly trying to recall everybody as quick as we can. But I think the unfortunate reality is the length of the pandemic has caused a lot of people to kind of move on, in a lot of cases move out of state, because, you have to remember our neighbors are Nevada and Arizona, and they opened up much, much earlier than we did. And so a lot of people kind of left our state to pursue other opportunities in other places. And so our challenge now is we've got daily rooms out of order because we can't get people to come in and clean them. And I think, that's a tremendous challenge for us. And I think I've equated it to losing almost, I believe Chip Rogers at CH&LA said that we've undone 10 years worth of job growth in the industry. Yes. And I, being a generation of hotelier, will take that comment a step further and say that we've essentially wiped out an entire generation of hospitality worker.
That's true.
In 1 year.
And let me just throw in one more fact there, Bijal, before you continue. Prior to the pandemic, there were 1 million openings already in the hospitality industry.
Yeah. So labor was already an issue going into the pandemic, and now it's just, become 10 times larger of an issue. And so some of the further challenges we have is we have some of our elected officials who have enacted burdensome kind of recall retention efforts. And basically what a recall retention bill is it forces hotels to recall associates in order of seniority, and it's over a 3-year period. And you have to actually keep documentation. Every time there's an opening at your hotel, you have to then go out to your list of furloughed employees and recall them by seniority and actually document that you've notified them by mail or email and all of that. So what it's done is it's created this problem that wasn't really a problem. Right now, we can't get people to work. We want everybody to come back. But now what we have to do is go back and actually contact every single person. And we're now, I was talking to a couple of hoteliers at Alice this week, and they're saying, well, I've contacted this employee and they've moved to Texas and they're never coming back to California, and they don't want to work in my hotel anymore in San Francisco. Right. And, but we have to actually document, we have to keep calling them now for the next 3 years. And so
that's insane. You can't just call them once and be like,
anytime that job reopens for the next 3 years, you have to contact that employee.
That's ridiculous and stupid and insane.
And so, and this was kind of the thing is, this is what happens.
That's a California law?
That is a California law.
That's what California does. Take a good idea and then move it to a place.
It moves across the country.
And that's the stuff that just gets business people to move. And that it's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating.
So so it's like we're coming out of a pandemic. We need to rehire all of our people, and then they've added this burdensome process to our operations right now. And so I think it's only going to get more.
So how do you fix that? How do you get rid of that dumb law?
Well, we were successful in actually having the governor veto it. It was proposed in October last year. The governor actually vetoed it towards the end of 2020. But then it was brought back this spring. And unfortunately, when it was brought back, legislators haven't done any legislation during the pandemic. It's all mostly been executive orders. And so once they started the legislative session again, this was kind of one of the top things. And they thought it would help bring back employees because they said, well, you're not going to rehire your seasoned veterans. And we are trying to say, look, we want our seasoned veterans. We don't want new people working because I always say as chairman, hotels are so much more than just buildings. Hospitality is based on the people. It's the service, right? That's the whole essence of hospitality. We're so much more than just buildings of glass and wood and steel, and so hiring new people that don't know, Anthony, you know this, hiring people that don't do a good job at guest service or are new, there's a long learning curve. And so it kind of created an issue out of nowhere that, unfortunately we have to kind of go through. So we're actively providing resources at CH&LA on how to manage that. And, hopefully we can try and navigate through it, but that's just one issue of many. We're also
that's a big issue. It's the first time on this show in over 300 episodes I've done that I literally had to 3 times say to myself as you were talking, don't like scream and curse, because no, I'm serious. I'm serious. I am so angry. I want to lose my temper, and I don't lose my temper. And that is really, 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 it's what's killing states. It's
right.
what's killing businesses. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, why? First of all, if you want to work at your old job and you go back to your old job and you're a good employee, they're going to give you your job back.
Right.
And it's not like the rate that you were being paid before the pandemic didn't go up. It went up because rates are going up, in some places 80%. So it's not like you can pay a lower wage. That the horse left the stable.
Yep.
Wages are going up. So why wouldn't you want to hire that? Why can't you just leave businesses to run their businesses, have fair policies, and then allow employees to look for the job that works for them and have fair practices? That practice is the most insane thing I've heard. Listen, in running unions in New York City, running hotels that have unions, you have to call people back in certain order. You have to call for sick days. So there's policies. But if the union said you have to call these people for 3 years, I'd be the first one to say, listen, that policy goes too far and it's ridiculous and it's a waste of time. And now you're just hiring people to make phone calls. I'm sorry. I did avoid not cursing, which is good.
I think next time I'm on the show, we'll make sure this is a happy hour, because the only way you can talk about California labor laws is if you have a beverage in hand.
Well, that'll be perfect. If you're having too much fun doing that show, let's make it pressing as possible. But this reminds me of like the prison law that Bill Clinton and company put in place in the early 90s. 3 strikes, you're out. It should be 3 strikes, you're out. Right?
Yeah,
we asked you, you're saying no, goodbye. I mean, let's be reasonable. I love giving them an opportunity, but you got to stop it.
No, I think this. We offered you the job. It's available. Do you want it? No. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. If for some reason 3 months, 6 months, your situation changes, give me a call. If I have an opportunity, I will give you the opportunity. But you call me. Like once, I'll call you. Why do I have to call you twice?
Yeah. Well, every time that department has an opening, you got to go down the list.
Yeah. Really stop talking about this, because I feel a word that starts with the letter F.
So let's move on. Bijal, on Tuesday's show, we had on Adam Burke, who's the president and CEO of the LA Tourism, and he brought these bagels and stuff like that and tried to make it seem like his bagels were better than ours. Where do you stand on this issue?
On the bagel issue, you're going to get me into trouble, because pre-chairmanship was always on the New York bagel circuit. And
thank you.
But as
you need speak no further. We know where you on this.
It's like saying, who's a better basketball player, Anthony Melchior or Michael Jordan? Come on.
Right.
Why even put Jordan in the same category as you?
Exactly.
I don't get it. But all right, so Bijal, on to other issues. I just wanted to create a little segue there for us.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there. We've been talking a lot about some of the negatives. What are some of the opportunities out there now that you see for the members of your association and maybe for other hoteliers around the country?
Yeah. So, again, it was great to be reconnected with hoteliers from across the country, this week at Alice. And I think a lot of us have, as we've gotten down to the basics, we've kind of started to kind of think about, hey, we were doing things a certain way, but now that we're kind of back on the ground, we've got our boots on the ground, and how can we kind of evolve? And I think there's a tremendous opportunity for us here in the hospitality industry to kind of reintroduce the guest experience coming out of the pandemic. I think there's going to be a wide spectrum of travelers now. And we saw it at the conference this week. There was some people that had their masks on indoors, outdoors, all spectrums. And we saw people that couldn't wait to get their foot outside of the door and take their mask off. And I think you're going to kind of see that in our travelers as they return, as they as they come back, they're taking their first vacations post-pandemic. We have a tremendous opportunity in the hospitality industry. We're going to be providing them with their first experience after a very long time. And so it's a great opportunity for us to kind of get back to our roots, as I kind of was mentioning earlier, is providing that level of service and experience to
but if we can go one step further, we have to look at it also, in my opinion, is we have to renew the employee experience. The reason you're seeing a mass exodus, the reason you're seeing people saying, somebody just commented, if you're paying somebody that works at McDonald's the same you're paying at a front desk, you may not get the person that really wants to be in the hospitality industry, although there's a lot of good McDonald's workers out there. So I don't want to kind of make that comparison. I don't think it's fair all the time, but I think that's really what we have to look at. If you want the guest experience to improve, you have to improve the employee experience. And I think for too long, we've taken advantage in this community of those hourly workers at the front desk and haven't given them all the resources and the tools. And now is a time for us to reset, start there, and then the guest experience gets better. And I think that's been the biggest problem. I will tell you, the hotel we were staying at, the JW Marriott in California, every single person, and I don't say this easily because I haven't seen it across the board at all. I think the service, we have a serious problem. JW Marriott in LA did an extraordinary job. Every waiter, every front desk, every busboy, everybody was exactly the same as far as service. Do you agree, Glenn?
I do agree.
Right.
Yes. Well, and I'll pass along those comments, actually, Anthony, because that general manager is actually a member on my executive committee at CH&LA. So
cool.
I met him as I walked out.
You did? Okay, wonderful. Well, Javier is a
wonderful.
wonderful individual, and he really embodies the spirit of hospitality. So I'm really kind of.
And it really starts with that. If you want to change but my experience was changed because I've been talking about it a lot, right, Glenn? Our service standards, I see it going down and down and down. So that really helped me saying, oh, we can do this right. People are passionate. And 3 out of the 4 people were hospitality students. So we've got, the key is to get people in to the hospitality program and make it show how exciting it is.
Yeah. And so we at CH&LA, one of the things we're doing, especially with my generational background in being a hotelier, I've noticed kind of like there's an issue about bringing the new generation in, and right. This pandemic with wiping out 10 years worth of job growth is going to make that even more difficult. But we at CH&LA now have a $3 million endowment to provide basically a foundation for hospitality students. And I think what we're going to have to do is take it a step further, and we need to start recruiting actively, in high school as well. So right now we partner with all of the colleges and the university in the state of California that have hospitality programs. But one of the things I want to do is take that program a step further and really kind of start developing that foundational experience in hospitality and really kind of show why it's such a great career to have as well.
That's pretty cool. Anthony, you muted.
Sorry. We have to show how much fun it is, right? If you look at a general manager and you say, how many states have you worked in? How many countries have you worked in? How many celebrities and business people have you met that have helped you in your career and just cool experiences? We got to start there, right? We have to start. Also, and getting back to the whole community, the first generations, they were getting their hotel. They were doing everything with their family. Then the second generation kind of improved it. And then the third started going towards more of technology and getting bigger hotels. And then now a big percentage of hotels in the pipeline, the higher end hotels, are from the whole community. So now we're seeing, and also the brands having 36, 37, 15 brands in one place, whether it be Marriott or Hilton. You can be a person that started at Holiday Inn Express and all of a sudden, a couple of years working in a 5-star hotel. Yep. So there's so much growth. I have somebody I'm mentoring right now, and he left his what he was going to school for, and is now going to school for hospitality. And I said, why? He goes, because I want to travel the world. Instead of joining the military, he's joining the hospitality industry. And we've got to make it exciting.
Yeah, a couple of things. Professor Suzanne is doing high school recruiting this very evening and talking about opportunity, Anthony. I was telling you, I was having drinks with my friend Alan Roberts, who runs Hilton Garden Inn. That's almost 1,000 hotels that he's overseeing. He started out at the front desk. CEOs start out at the front desk who are carrying bags. The possibility.
I think what we teach is we're teaching the fundamentals, how to check somebody in, how to sell. We need to show people, forget about that stuff. You want to have fun, go in the hospitality industry. You're going to work hard, but you're going to have fun. Like if you see an actor in Hollywood, they have all the trappings of a Hollywood person. But guess what? You see those people on set. People are working their butts off. They're working 18 hours a day. They're away from their families for 6 weeks, 6 months. Yep. Yeah, and they have a great upside, but they put the work in. And the hotel business is the same thing. I'm a product of that. We all are a product of that. Because this industry is fun, I've had a great career. I've had lots of opportunities. Some I made more for myself because I worked hard, and most just came to me because I was in the right place, because I put myself there. So to me, I could talk about this for days, weeks, and years, that we've got to make this industry fun. And when we have an employee at the front desk that's struggling, we've got to care about them. And the problem that I've seen across the board is that we look the other way because we don't want them. We don't want their problem. And we've got to look them in the eye and say, hey, man, I talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago, a front desk agent, who's loved his job. But he's like, I think I'm getting tired. And I go, did you talk to your supervisor? Like, my supervisor's busy. He said, you talk to general manager? I can't talk to my general manager. Like, that's the problem. Yeah. You lose that kid. That's what's killing our industry.
So you have to provide a pathway forward, I believe, for those individuals. And, I'm engaged in a lot of next generation lodging work, and we're also seeing a change. So the millennials that are coming into the workforce too, they get bored very quickly, and so we're going to have to also, I was in a discussion about, well, how do we kind of revamp even our pathway? Because when someone, if we talk about the path to bellman to general manager, that could be over a long period of time. But the next generation of workforce coming in, the millennial workers, they actually they don't want to spend that much time. They want an accelerated pathway. And so I think we're going to also have to revamp some of our policies and procedures as well to kind of accelerate and provide.
I'm kind of joking, but also serious. There's nobody left working in hotels anyway, so they're probably going to get promoted quicker, right?
Well, we spoke to an executive. I think, Len, you were involved in the conversation, and the executive said there's no time to train because people are so busy. Yeah. And some of the things that we had in our hotels to get people cross-trained, to get people to get to the next level don't exist because we're so busy. People are burnt out, and they were very concerned that we don't have an answer for that. And we really don't. And I've always found those one-on-one conversations with employees are more important than any training, that are more important. I've had people on the show, I've been able to shift people's careers with literally 5-minute conversation just because I took the time. And a lot of times I don't even remember what I said, but I took the time. And I'm going to talk to nauseam for the rest of my life. That's the problem in our industry. We don't take the time to take those 5 minutes and say, hey, take your head out of your butt. These are the things you're doing wrong. These are the things you're doing right. Stay in the industry. There's great opportunities. We have to have those real conversations. And a lot of them are having them and a lot of them aren't. And I think if we continue to do that and we do that, I think we'll be in a better shape. You can put all the training you want in the world. You know how many policy and procedure books I've put into place that nobody reads? But if you keep talking about it, they get so tired of hearing you, they keep doing it. You got to talk to people.
Yeah, I think you have to check in, especially that was one of the traits, Anthony, that we were talking about in this millennial workforce think tank was you have to check in. You have to provide that feedback. You can't wait for sometimes you wait for that 90-day review and then everyone gets busy and the 90-day review doesn't even happen, right? And so we have to start doing a better job of engaging our workforce more often, whether it's daily huddles or weekly huddles or whatever it is you're doing. But if you don't connect with your workforce, there's no way to incentivize them to stay on with you.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to have to wrap up in a couple of minutes, but I did want to say, Bijal's mentioned a couple of times, he's a third-generation hotelier, and he has a fascinating family story. So I'm putting up a link to a podcast that Anthony and I did with Bijal in December of 2018 that shares the entire story of what he went through between his grandfather, his dad, himself, and the struggles that they all went through. But Bijal, grandfather turned 100 this week. Congratulations to him.
Yes. This Tuesday, July 27th, he hit the Century Club. So we had, that's why I flew back home early from Alice. I said, okay, I was at Alice Sunday, Monday, and I said, okay, Tuesday, I'm going to have to excuse myself and come home and celebrate with him. So it was really great achievement, great milestone. And
is he still driving? Is he still driving?
He's not driving, but he's still mobile. He uses a walker just for my father's, peace of mind, but he really doesn't need it. He can probably walk faster than my dad and I. But on that note too, we celebrated 45 years in the hospitality industry this year. And I owe it all to him and his vision, moving our family across 3 continents and, buying a business he had never, ever had any experience in. And here I am today, the youngest chairman at CH&LA, so that, I really respect him a lot for those decisions he's made and the resilience. So during pandemic, because I was forced to be home, I would have dinner every day with my father and my grandfather. And we'd had discussions about everything that my family, not only has my grandfather seen in the last 100 years, but also what we've seen in the last 45 years. And I'll end on this note, my family history, when we bought our hotel, they had the oil crisis. We went through several devastating earthquakes here in the state of California, financial crises, all these different kinds of things. But I think the important thing is each time we came back with a vengeance. We were incredibly resilient. And so even in some of the darkest days of the last 18 months, having that perspective at the dinner table every night really kind of gave me that kind of encouragement to keep going out there the next day on Zoom. We had 20 Zooms a day. I felt like, in the heyday of those 18 months. And so that resiliency is kind of the message that I want to leave, your listeners with, that, we as an industry have proven time and time again that we're resilient. And so I'm sure we'll keep pushing forward and continue to provide great experiences to our employees, our guests, in our communities.
You said something that I don't want to be lost on people. You said I was sitting with my father and I was sitting with my grandfather talking about his 100-year experience. Just let that sit there. Let that sit there, that you have access to a 100-year-old person that still can tell stories, still remembers stories. It's like having a computer that's 100 years old. It's absolutely it literally brought tears to my eyes because just let that resonate. What you can learn in an hour dinner from a 100-year-old person that still remembers his life and the struggles. And when you look at someone like that, when he was born, think about the things that he didn't have. Forget about the struggles, but all the things that we have today that we take for granted didn't exist back then. And then he's seeing this. I imagine he's looking at us like, you guys are a bunch of babies. What were you saying, Glenn? What were you going to say, Glenn?
Like mass air transit. I mean, there were airplanes, but it wasn't like we were all going to LaGuardia and flying all over the world and stuff.
So they went in a steamer from Mumbai to Nairobi. They piled in a boat, and that's how they got from India to East Africa. And so it's quite fascinating.
And would you be able to use his points? Because that's a lot of points.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But the interesting thing, he still comes, we don't take him all the time, but at least once a month, he visits the properties. I mean, and we still have the original hotel that he bought in 1976. And he'll still come to there and, he'll say, he'll walk the halls, walk the gardens, come into the front. I mean, he's amazing. So
you know what it is when people like him see this pandemic or whatever, his whole life was a struggle. The problem with what's happening now, which could be good or bad depending on what you would look like because of technology, but that people in the younger generation, maybe they didn't see as many challenges, and now this challenge is going to make them strong. So all this people leaving and moving and starting new careers actually is a part of a struggle for them that will make them stronger. So I truly believe this pandemic will make the younger generation stronger. And I've said this before. I don't want to hear anybody saying, oh, the younger generation, they're weak. They've gone through hell. This year has been hell for all of us, but we've seen struggle. This is their first struggle. So this is going to make them stronger.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Anthony.
Bijal, thank you so much for being here, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure with you both. And like I said, I think next time we do this, maybe we'll have it in the evening.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't videotape it because there'll be a lot of curse words.
Yeah, we will see you next week in Dallas. Thank you so much. Take care, man.
Thank you so much.
Be good. Speaking of
who's
Dallas,
on our show Monday, Glenn?
Speaking of Dallas, we'll be there next week. Come join us and watch us on Wednesday and Thursday while we're at HoCon broadcasting live. We've got this show. I'm doing a special Friday night audit that you could come and watch. It'll be a Wednesday night audit starting at 4:00 Central Time. But this Friday, we got an exciting show planned. That's right. I've got a box here that I am told I have to open on air. So we'll find out together what's on it. You don't want to miss great content like that. We can't be beat on Friday Night Audit. But Anthony, you're right. On Monday, I've got to head down to Dallas. We're not going to have a show on Monday. I don't need the pressure of running to the airport immediately from doing the show. So we're going to take off Monday. We'll be back Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week.
And you know what? Tuesday's the 3rd, right?
Yes.
So I have news for you.
Yes.
I will be on an airplane, so I will not be on the show on Tuesday.
Oh, well, there you go. So Anthony won't be here on Tuesday, so it's sure to be a good one. So
I'll be coming to you. I'll be coming to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe you'll have actually some room to talk.
And Tuesday night, I've actually been asked to participate in the opening party, doing a little podcasting with our friends Sarah and Rupesh over there. So that should be
fun.
That should be a lot
of fun. Yeah. So can I kind of just first of all, we did not make the announcement. Now it's official.
Oh, which announcement?
We have a friend of ours.
We do. We have friends.
Listen, being in town from Brooklyn, a friend of ours means he's in the club. Who won Hotel Year of the Year, my friend?
Yeah.
And Suzanne, if you have that article, we'll post it real quick or pull it up real quick.
Friend of the show, Jerry Inzarello. Congratulations to him for being named Hotelier of the Year. What a great honor. We've done several shows with him. Go check out our catalog of shows for that. Yeah, congratulations. It's so exciting for him.
And he did it, and he doesn't have a big organization like one of the big brands to like back him. Like he did this, just on pure reputation, people purely wanting to vote for him, and just everybody going to bat for Jerry. And, being the kid that grew up on the same street as Jerry, seeing a Brooklyn busboy go to the heights that Jerry has gone to is extraordinary. And if you Google Jerry Inzarello's name, you'll see some pictures with Michael Jackson and Desmond Tutu and Oprah Winfrey, and just the list goes on and on and on. The man is just a legend. Put that back up. Was that something?
I think she goes.
Well, was that old? Because he's not at Forbes anymore.
I think they still love to call him his own, though. Because
I see. From Forbes, I see. Because he maybe sits on the board, but yeah, he won, and I was very excited. And it was. I think there's going to be a little party in New York, so I look forward to that. And Glenn, maybe I can get you on the list, buddy.
I hope so. I hope he lets me in.
We know people, Glenn.
Yeah.
Listen, for all the doors you open for me, I can open 1 or 2 for you.
I thought I was already friendly with him. He called me to ask me to vote for him.
No, you're in, buddy.
All right.
I'm just trying to show you that I have some juice even when I don't need it.
You got so much.
But can we just talk about this one thing? And I'm just, because there's no guests, there's no sponsors. Can I just tell you how I feel? Or you have to go? You have to go.
I have a conference call soon, but not yet.
All right. I have a call in 10 minutes, but I want to say this, and it's really, really important. We got to stop looking outside, what's broken in our industry. We got to stop looking at all these training and all these classes and all this bullshit. What we need to do is, and I think Arnie Sorensen is a really good example of that. whether you're a leader at Arnie's level, or you're a supervisor, or you're just another employee trying to help another employee, we need to stop and just talk to people. We need to stop and give our experience. And I think we get so caught up with how can we get people to the next level? You know how I got to the next level? People pulling me over, putting me in the office and saying, Anthony, this is what you suck at, and this is what you're good at. And you need to be in this business, and you're going to be great, but you got to fix these problems. And sometimes it was from a person that was very kind and very soft and not very direct. And sometimes it was from somebody who's very direct and was like, we really love you. We really like you. But, you know, you're going to kill your career if you don't shut up and calm down a little bit. And I think if we don't have those real world conversations, that's the problem in this industry. Right. Period. End of story. That's why people are leaving. That's why, how many times there's somebody at the front desk, a desk clerk that was making $10 an hour that people just crapped on and pissed on and just wanted more and more and worked 6 days, 7 days and just worked more. Housekeepers, when I was running around the world, and housekeepers' conditions were horrible, and they're having to wait an hour for sheets, and then they get yelled at from their supervisor. We've got to just stop the madness and understand that the front desk agents, the employees, the line employees are the future of this business. So stop the bullshit with all these technology. Talk to people.
Right.
I'm sharing that Anthony walks the talk here at Indian River State College when he was
not to say that.
Hey, you're not in charge of me. Listen, no, with all sincerity, Anthony walks that talk. He connects, and with our students in any of events that are going around, he takes that time to talk and mentor in just little small snippets, but that little small snippet makes a difference in those individuals. And that's what we all need to be doing. Not just Anthony. We all need to embrace that if we want to see this industry move forward. So thank you.
There was a young lady. Thank you very much for that. There was a young lady at the event that we went to, Glenn, and we were having cocktails when I was we were hanging out near the food trucks, and she came over to me, and I was like, "Hey, how are you? Oh my God, I remember you." I couldn't remember her name, I'll be honest, but I remembered her. And she goes, "You remember me?" I said, "Of course I remember you. You were a superstar. I remember you as in the group that I was talking to, and you were the superstar. I remember you." And she was like so excited that I remembered her, but you remember people that stand out. And I was so happy I remembered her because it was important to her, and it was important to me that she appreciated my time when I was in Vegas talking to the students. And listen, I said this, probably before on the air. When I made a commitment to God, I said, when I get this show, I'm going to always help people come into this industry. That is my mission. That is my life. That is what I'm going to do for the next 10 years of my career. Is I'm going to focus on students. I'm working with a client and said, "Why are you so interested in doing these classes that we're going to do?" And it's like, because of it goes to students. Suzanne and I are working, in River College to work on the same students. It's about students. And so when people say to me, "Why are people leaving the industry?" I know exactly why. There is nobody that has had the insight for 10 years to go to almost 50 states, 50 countries, seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I am uniquely qualified to say the number one problem is because no one gives a shit about talking to line employees when they're stressed out. When I say nobody, obviously a lot of people do, but it is an absolutely fundamental problem in our industry that we're not talking to our line employees and we're not giving them the tools. I have never seen a hotel go out of business because of employees. I've seen hotels go out of business because owners made bad deals with financing, owners didn't treat their employees well, owners didn't treat their guests well. But I have never seen a hotel go out of business because employees aren't doing their job. And if they're not doing their jobs, because the owner didn't get rid of them and get employees that care. So that's my speech for today.
That was beautiful.
Thank you for your passion.
On target, man. Right on target. Well, I got to tell you, that seems like a great place to leave it. We can't do any better than that, can we? So, all right, let's wrap this up. Thank you, Professor Producer Suzanne, for always doing a great job. Bijal Patel, I know you're still backstage hanging out. Just thank you for doing what you do. And Anthony, Thanks for being such a great partner and, more importantly, such an amazing friend.
Well, Daniel says that the business brings out the best in people. No, the business brings out the best and the worst in people. Because when you're open 24/7 and you have so many employees, and you have food and beverage, and you have banquets, and you have weddings, and you have front desk, and you have housekeeping, there's a lot of stress. So those people who are good people outside aren't qualified sometimes, and it doesn't bring out the best. That's the problem. The stresses of this industry being 24/7 bring out the worst sometimes. So if you're not training people, you're not talking to people, and you're not caring about people and saying, hey, see what you just did to that housekeeper? Just you spoke to that housekeeper? Come here. That is not the way you speak to someone. I know you're busy. We're all busy, but go apologize to that person. Who the hell are you to get mad at her for whatever reason that you think, like, you want to write her up? Go write her up. I hope you write her up because maybe she deserves it. But how dare you speak to her that way? That's what's lost in this industry, holding people accountable for the way they behave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Man, fiery. Absolutely fiery. I can't even follow that up with anything because you just said it all and you said it best. Anthony, thanks for keeping everybody in our business on the straight and narrow. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, sir.
All right, and I want to thank all of you for watching us every single day, but we also know that a lot of you can't watch, so you listen. That's why I encourage you, if you haven't already subscribed to our podcast, go check us out on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you want to go. You want to hear us on Spotify? Boom, we're there. You want to hear us on an old-timey radio? Well, nope, can't help you there, but we are everywhere else online. If you want to reach out to Anthony, he's at Anthony Hotels, and I, of course, am at Traveling Glenn. And remember, everybody, we'll see you next week, but not on Monday. And we'll be broadcasting live from Dallas. And remember, we're living this ethos every single day now because I've got one life. So let's all blaze on. Eh?
I got to say one other thing.
Yeah, brother.
I wasn't always that guy. I was the guy that somebody had to pull aside and say, why are you talking to that person that way? So if you ever worked with me early in my career, yes, I acknowledge the reason I'm so passionate for it because I was the asshole. Right. And now I've learned my lesson because of very strong people that pulled me aside and said, hey, you need to understand your insecurities and your inabilities are not other people's fault. So get control of yourself. So anyway, with that note, be kind to yourself.
See you all tomorrow. No, we won't. But I will see you at Friday Night Order coming at you live from the Hampton Inn Poughkeepsie.
And Glenn, I'll say it one more time.
Uh-oh, hold on.
You can invite me to Friday night.
I can now, for real?
Now I'm ready because I'm seeing it's really become important to you. So I'll come on.
Well, we're also getting great views. And look, man, if I could get the CEO of Radisson to join us last week, maybe now we could finally get you.
Are you saying he's more important than me, Glenn?
I'm just saying he's different type of important. All right, everybody. We love you. See you next week.